No way. How does this work? So for the end of the year, I'm going to talk a lot about gaming, and I'm going to talk a lot about emulation. We got two ANBERNIC devices right here. They're basically, this one's charging right now. It's basically the same thing, but in two different form factors. So we're going to talk about them, play some games, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about both of these units. So how did I get all these handheld devices at such low prices? Right now it's the Double 11 mega sale over at AliExpress.com. You're getting 90% off site-wide from the 8th until the 18th of November. I don't even know why I'm making this video, because you just get it. Really ridiculously inexpensive. I don't understand how they can do this. So at this price, it's like kind of a no-brainer. You just go over here and pick the one you like the most. The link is down in the description. You can also get a whole bunch more off if you use some of my coupon codes. So I'm going to be buying a few things, a CPU and some other stuff. I'll be able to save $60 with TSY60 since I'm getting two ANBERNIC devices, and I also really need this CPU. Check this out. Enter the coupon code TSY60, hit apply, and check that out. $60 off over $200. All the rest of the coupon codes are down in the description. Plus, you can download the AliExpress app, enter the dollar challenge, and that'll give you a chance to win $3,000 or $10,000 in flight credits. Might be a good time to hop on a flight and get out of America. A lot of the items do have free shipping, but if you're a new member, you're going to get free shipping regardless, plus you get free returns. Their catchphrase, AliExpress offers better choices at better prices. And you know what? I was just about to buy a CPU on some other websites, checked out AliExpress, and they had way more choices and they were much better prices. So I ended up grabbing the CPU there. So that's how I got these devices at such low prices. Now let's check them out and just see what we can do with them. First off, in the horizontal, I don't know, Lynx style. I don't know what was the first one that came like this. We'll just say like the Atari Lynx style, maybe, in Neo Geo Pocket style. The ANBERNIC RG35XX H. And then in the style of the Game Boy Advanced, basically the same shell size and shape, we have the RG35XXSP. Now both of these come with screen protectors in the box, which is really cool. They come with a little alcohol wipe. They come with a charger, just a little charging cable, and they also come with a pre-installed TF card. And they both come with a pre-installed TF card that have a whole bunch of games, like 5,000 different games on there. Just note there's not a lot of Nintendo first-party titles on these devices, and I wonder why. Nintendo, you stupid... Thank you, Stephanie Sterling, for letting me borrow that. So these both run versions of RetroArch that are specifically made for these units. And like I said, they're both the same. So we'll go through the specs just really quick, but I don't think anyone cares about the specs beyond this. 640 by 480, and it's a 4x3 screen, 3.5 inch. They both have a 3.5 inch IPS screen. They both run a quad-core ARM CPU clocked at 1.5 gigahertz. It's the H700. They both have a Mali-G31 MP2 GPU. They both have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 4.2. Now, above and beyond just playing games, you can put MKV, movies, MP4s, whatever. You can put movie files on here, watch those back. You can put waves, ape files, you know, whatever. Your OGG, Vorbis OGG, yes. You can put all that on here, M4A. You can listen to music on this AAC, so you can have it as a music player. And what's beautiful about that is we have a second TF card slot. So you got one TF card slot that's got the OS on it. They put a sticker over there. You can rip that off and put whatever you want on there. You can mess with it if you know what you're doing, but if not, just use the second TF card slot, get a TF card loaded up with all kinds of stuff. If you get a big one, you can load it with all your music and everything, and just use this with the headphone jack as your portable media device. Let's talk about the gaming on both of these. What can you play? Well, you can play some Dreamcast, decent bit of Dreamcast. You can play some PSP, and you can play most N64. I tried some titles like the GoldenEye stuff and worked better than I expected, better than it did on the Trim UI, which was interesting. Now we can also play ports on here. Ports are not emulated. They are actual games that have been ported over to this hardware. Now you can go, let me show you a website real quick. So we can go over here to Portmaster, and we have a list of all the different ports that are out there. Now, these are all games that maybe were on PC or maybe were on other mobile devices, Android or whatever. They've been ported over to all of these devices. And I think there's a ton of fun to be had here. Plus, since they are ports, you're not gonna have to worry about any emulation issues. Now you just come up here and pick the model that you have. So I'll go ahead and click on that. Now all the ports for this should work just fine with the other one. So like this one here, there. Now we can scroll down and see all the different ports, and then we can just get them, put them on the memory card, and then they'll work. It's wonderful. This Abuse, oh, this is an awesome game. Ready to run, amazing. So supported devices right there. So we just download this, Abuse and abuse.sh. This shell script or whatever will launch this and play the game. It's a beautiful thing. This is an awesome game, by the way. You need to play it. All right, so I'm going to do a lengthy portion of the video where I just jump in and look at the actual units themselves. I'm going to go through the operating system for the first time myself, and you'll see like sort of my first impressions. And then after that portion of the video, I'll come back and tell you what I think, because I've been using it for a few days now. I've pre-shot some other stuff. I'll tell you what I think about it after a few days. So let's go in and just check out the systems and play some games. So we have two different styles of game menu right here. Let's go back and show you. So we got the RetroArch game menu right here. Interesting. And we have the two different styles of menu. Game rooms. Let's see what our PSP games look like. Not sure why we have two different interfaces, but whatever, it works. Let's try out some PSP games and see how they work. Alright, so let's turn the volume down. Alright, so that's like someone sitting on a bus or a train in America loud. That's how loud people have their phone games and stuff, in case you're wondering. If you're like from a civilized country like Japan and you don't like blare your music and all that while you're on the train, that's what it's like to be in America. Just like that. This is working perfectly. All right, let's try something else. So we can come over here and do our save state. I just died, but whatever, we're gonna save state. Got here for Super Famicom, all kinds of stuff. ActRaiser and ActRaiser 2, wonderful. Then we've got our apps, and you can install more apps through the TF card. Videos, music, ebooks, and that's cool. You can put books on here. File manager, and here's more apps. You can just like go through and take a look at those. Go to expert mode if you like. Not a ton of stuff you can do there, but I mean, how much do you need to do? This is just a little handheld console, right? It's up to you, I guess. I'm gonna turn that sound off because it's so loud. Button sound, and goodbye. So for network, we've got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and Moonlight, which is game streaming. You can install Moonlight on your PC or your Linux-based system, and then stream games from your big computer, like fancy brand new games. Here, play them on the screen with these controls. Then we have our RetroArch settings. In order to do that, we'll need to go in and start RetroArch. We also have our reset retroarch.cfg right there, but let's go ahead and start RetroArch and just see what we can do here for the advanced stuff. I would say most people just play your games and don't mess with this unless you really know what you're doing. Now we're just in the regular RetroArch menu. This is similar to what you'd have on desktop. Now we can come over here, and I'm going to change my video. You can change it. Right now it's on GL. You can put it on SDL2 if you want to, and that will be Vulkan. But I found that on some of these small ARM-based devices, games don't run very well on Vulkan. So I'm going to leave it on GL unless I have some reason not to. We've got our scaling options. I'm not going to mess with this because everything is already set up for this device, but you can come in and mess around with this stuff. You can change your input, and then we also have our latency settings right here. If you want to turn on some look-ahead latency, which will maybe improve the latency a little bit. It feels pretty good as is, but if you want to like mess around with these settings, you can. Just note that it does slow down your gameplay, so it'll work on some systems, maybe Nintendo, Super Nintendo, but it's not going to work on your PSP and 64 games and whatnot. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the main menu here. Just know you do have access to your full RetroArch menu. You tell me if this is stretched or not. I've never played one of these games, so I don't know. I think a lot of the PSP games are widescreen, so I don't play a lot of PSP, but we'll see. How does this run?
Round one.
All right, so this game, a little bit rough. Let's take a look at our in-game menus for the different games. If we just go over here, press the home button on top, go down to our settings, we've got all kinds of things. You can change the graphics for each individual system or game, and this is how you should be doing it. You should be doing it in this menu and not the RetroArch menu. You can change your controls, audio, whatever, frame skipping, whatever you want. You've got all these options you can play with. A lot of this, I would say, leave alone. But, you know, this game's not running so hot. All right, let's see what happens now that I've got that going on. Oh, it feels a lot better. Still doesn't feel perfect, but yeah, you can like come in and change the settings and mess with things. I have no idea how you play this. I think I just slung that guy. This one feels really good. The buttons have a softness, they're not super clicky. And this, like the angles and the diagonals with the D-pad feel very good. These both our clicks as well. So we have our L3 and L2 and L3 or whatever it is, L3 and R3. There we go. I'm just all over the place. Everything feels really good. Not a lot of play to the buttons. Up here on top we have our R1 and R2 and L1 and L2. So there we go. And then we have our HD output. I love the fact that we can plug this up to a TV. So then we've also got our 2 USB-C ports. One charges, that's to bring up your menu. And then if you're plugging in your headphones, you plug them in right here. So please do that if you're on a bus or something. In the back here we have a couple little concave, sort of rubberized textures for you to grip onto so it doesn't slip out of your hands. Very nice design there. And then on the bottom we have a couple of vents and then a TF card slot so you can load it up with stuff and put it in there. Over here on the side, got our power, and that's our reset button. So if you ever get stuck with anything, just hit that. It's cool that they've got a dedicated button to do a full-on hard reset. And then over on this side, we have our volume. Let's do the same thing for this one. Take a look around. All right, so in the front here, we've got 2 different card slots. So you can take this one out. This is the one that's got the OS and everything on it, but you can take it out and put it in your computer and add more ROMs and stuff if you wanted to. And then your headphone jack is down here on the bottom, so it's not going to be coming out of the top. You don't want the headphone jack behind the screen. Over on the side there, we've got our volume buttons. Up here, we've got our L and R buttons, plus 1 USB, and that can also charge USB-C. We've got a mini HDMI right there, just like on the other one, so we can hook it up to a screen. Now, listen, these have a little bit more play, and listen how clicky. I'll do it over here. These buttons are clickier on this unit. So yeah, the RG35XXSP has clickier buttons. Same thing over here on the side. These are basically the same units. Power and then reset. I'm going to pop it open. Go ahead and power this one on. And there we go. Look at that Game Boy Advance. This is what it is. It's actually really pretty. So aesthetically, if you are nostalgic for this, then it's going to be hard to get away from how cool this is. It feels pretty good. I mean, if you're used to this and you played a ton of games on your Advance or whatever, I have no nostalgia for this whatsoever. But if you do, and this feels good, well, by all means, you're going to love it. Got our select and start button right here. You see our speaker right there. That's pretty cool to be able to see that. I also love this translucent purple. I kind of miss the generation of electronics that had this. So I think this one's really pretty. Now the buttons, again, listen how clicky. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to turn that off, aren't I? That noise. There we go. The buttons are definitely clickier. For some reason, whatever reason, I don't know. Everything's clickier. It's weird. It doesn't feel that different. This feels... The D-pad on this one feels much more deliberate. Like it's the diagonals. This one feels like it's clicking. Like this feels very different. I think I like the D-pad on this one better. It's much softer when you move it around. This one it almost feels like 4 buttons here that you're just kind of clicking. Interesting. All right, so this one, screen and everything. Let's just get a wider shot, shall we? This one feels really good too. The positioning of the L and R buttons is not quite as easy for my hands. They're somewhat big. I can palm a basketball, so if that tells you anything, but barely. It's kind of nice to have some of these systems that most of you have never played, like the MSX, which was similar to like DOS games and stuff. It was a computer in Japan. Yeah, I like the way this one feels quite a bit. It looks nice too. Just, if there were 2 analog sticks right here, that would be so cool. I think they make a version like that, but I don't know if it's amazing or not. God, CD games were amazing back then. Crank it up. Is this Dirty Pair? God, she looks just like Yuri from the Dirty Pair. Come on, tell me that's not. Oh my God, the volume is only at 9%. Turning it up. This thing can get loud. Okay, I think I've seen enough. This thing gets really loud. So check it out, we've got our bezel going on over here. A little bit of the Super Famicom in the background. You can toggle that on and off in the settings if you wanted to. I'm gonna leave it on because, you know, this screen is not perfectly 4x3, so those little bars on the side. Oh, it's a Super Street Fighter. Who are we picking? Oh, not too difficult. Yeah, I can do the moves. I'm noticing that they didn't preload any Nintendo games, which I guess makes sense because of how litigious and ridiculous Nintendo has been lately. No, we don't have Super Mario Brothers. So yeah, no Nintendo games on here. Let's put some on here for the hell of it. So after playing with these for a few days, what do I think? Well, this one's my favorite. I like this form factor. I don't have any nostalgia for the flip form factor at all. Never had one of those. I had a Game Boy Advance. It was the only portable system I had, but it was not the flip one. I had, the one that was shaped more like this. I like the position of these buttons. I like the way it feels. And I like all the options you get. And I do have a TrimUI Smart Pro as well. It doesn't have HDMI. I love the fact that we have HDMI here. Now on both of these units, we do have USB, and it supports being able to use a USB controller. I tried plugging stuff up, but I didn't have USB-C for the top. I tried to use a hub, and it would rumble my controller, but hey, it's like connected, but it couldn't get it to work. So I'll have to mess around with that a little bit. Bluetooth controllers, however, do work pretty well for the most part. So it's depending on what Bluetooth controller you're using and how you got it set up. Just go turn on your Bluetooth and get it connected. As far as the operating system goes, I think for most people, I'm going to recommend just leaving it alone, leaving it stock. Don't change a lot of the options. Just play your games. Decide whether or not you like the RetroArch menu or the Games Rooms menu or whatever it is, and just use it. If you want to get some new apps and stuff, grab some apps and throw it on there. For the most part, I think just use the stock OS, play your games. If you're someone who's advanced, we can talk about that, but there is something that's very interesting because you can install alternative operating systems on this or alternative versions of whatever. I think Newly is probably the way to go right now because it has full feature support for pretty much everything on here, and it's based on Batocera, but it's a fork of Batocera that's designed for this device, so you won't have the slowdown that some people were experiencing when trying to use Batocera with these devices. If you're not familiar with that, you can take a look down here, but this is an operating system that has a few more features. So if you need something like that, you want a few more features, maybe a little bit nerdy, then look into this. If you just want to play your games, don't mess with it. Just use it as is. Now, when it comes to choosing, one over the other right here, I would miss the analogs on this, but a lot of the games don't support analog anyway, so it's up to you. This one does have a pretty nice D-pad, but I like the D-pad better on this one. So it's like, this one is really my choice, unless you really like this form factor. This is more portable because you can close it up. When you close it up, it sleeps and everything. It's smart, knows what's going on. This is more portable. You don't have to worry about a case. This is really cool for that. You just throw it in your pocket, throw it in your bag or whatever. It's sturdy. Looks really nice too. I like this blue color that I got. So yeah, that's cool with that one. But if that's not really a concern, then this one's probably the way to go in my opinion. So there's the one I got. And I love this color. Bring back translucent plastic gaming devices, please. Bring it back. I mean, Anbernic's bringing it back, but yeah, we got to bring that back. So overall, the ease of use on both of these is top of the line. They're both stupid easy to use. They just work. When it comes to customization, yeah, you can do more with a custom OS or a custom firmware. You can get into seems like a limited version of the RetroArch menu and do some advanced stuff. So you can do a lot with this, but like I said, I'm going to recommend leaving that stuff alone. If you want me to do another video where I compare these to the TrimUI Smart Pro and we can go through a list of criteria and say which one's better for which use case, we can do that because I think each one of these has some use cases that are, this one's better for that and this one's better for that and the TrimUI Smart Pro is better for whatever else it is. And you can get all of those and we can explore that if you want to, but just let me know. I'll probably put a custom firmware onto the Anbernic before I do that just so I can nerd out a little bit more because I have a custom firmware on my TrimUI. That's how it goes. So anyway, thanks to AliExpress for sending these over. Cost them a pretty penny to send them. I'm joking around right now because the price is so goofy. That's just, how do they do it? Is the excellent apparatus. It is very worth the acquisition. Is the same person reviewed it twice? Great device. Excellent brand of portable consoles. It is worth the acquisition. This person is a master of the English language. This is beautiful. Excellent apparatus, very worth the acquisition. That's all my review should have been. I'll just let this guy here do it. All the reviews from now on. Anyway, let me know what you think. Head over to Choice Day. All the coupon codes and stuff like that are going to be in the description. So I'll see you next time. Enjoy playing your games. I cannot play an FPS with one of these controllers. Oh shit. I also play inverted, so that makes it even worse. Oh God. This is painful. Let's end it. There we go. I ended it.